Hello, hello. What a sizzle reel that was, right? I mean, goosebumps at the moment just watching that. There were some funny pictures in there as well, seeing Dan, Eddie, and myself there in the deep, dark moments of lockdown, the scraggly beard and all that. Winter is coming after all, so maybe a little bit of a return to that soon as well. But hello and welcome, and thank you very much for joining us here at the Capital City Supporters Group live 2021 season review. Tonight, we'll be taking a journey through the highs and lows, the ups and downs, and the sheer electricity that was brought to every home and away game by the incredible supporters that have embraced this team and this sport in the capital city in 2021. Before we go any further, though, make sure you hit those like and subscribe buttons down below to keep up to date with all of the content that we're producing here at CCSG. And we also want to hear your thoughts and opinions as the evening goes on the 2021 Canadian Premier League. So there's a chat to the other side. There we go. There's a chat over there. Just keep it PC in there, guys. But come on, get involved and get the conversation flowing. Leave this window open, but don't forget, if you haven't already, go over to Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all that good stuff, and follow at Capital City SG, and you can become a member today for free. Yes, for free. Just head to our website, capitalcitysupporters.com. First of all, I just want to start this 2021 season review by thanking everyone who was involved with making this season just a bloody good time. There was lots, as I mentioned at the start, highs and lows, but none of this would have been possible without all of you out there, whether you were actively involved with Capital City or just turning up to the games, chatting with us, meeting each other, and just in general creating an atmosphere, no matter where you were sat in TD Place. All right. The stage is set, the platform has been raised, and although the overall league table position didn't give us too much to cheer about, cheer you did, cheer we did, loudly and proudly throughout the whole year. You cheered for one of the most electric players in the league. You cheered for a true Canadian all-star that was hunting that golden boot all the way until the end. You cheered for the denier. You cheered for the Chelsea dagger. You cheered for every player on this team, whether you're in the stands at a viewing party or simply on your couch roaring advice as you stuff your face full of chips and beer, or maybe alternative healthy snacks if you're not me. You showed them that leaving it all on the field is truly all a fan can ever ask for when you support your local team. And you rallied behind them even at their lowest moments. All right, we have a jam-packed schedule for you this evening. You'll be hearing from a fan favorite. You'll be hearing from club staff, fellow fans, as well as there being sections for each of our main programs that we produced this year. The cheap seats with Eddie Benhin and Brandon Adibe, as well as, of course, After the Whistle with myself, Johnny, and Johnny MacArthur. Now, although Atletico's first full season in the CPL wasn't quite what a full season really is, the team, as we know, jetted off to Spain in the pre-season, and that built up a lot of hype, but they ended up being out there much longer than expected and had to jump essentially between isolation bubble to isolation bubble for a few weeks before landing in Winnipeg to begin the season. The performances, as we know, were very up and down, with the pure elation of yet another trademark VT Martinez last-minute winner in the opening match of the season. We had a fantastic time at the viewing party for Boston Pizza for that. President Jeff Hunt was present, fans from all over the place. It was fantastic to get to actually see each other in the flesh after 18 months of being together and only really seeing each other virtually. So yeah, actually being able to get to know them then. And then you think that was merely 6 months ago, and so many of us are already now such big parts of each other's lives. The joy, as we know, from that opening game in Winnipeg was short-lived. From penalties to red cards to injuries, the team frankly limped their way back to Ottawa for their first ever home game. Of course, as supporters, we had plenty to do behind the scenes on our own as well, and in anticipation to get ready for that first ever inaugural game for Atletico Ottawa at TD Place. From chant nights where supporters group put down their allegiances to ensure that they had a unified voice to cheer on the team, to tifos that we made for the first game, which was a big learning experience. There you can see some images on your screen of us in the backyard making that. We chose as Capital City supporters to pay homage to the bear and the strawberry tree monument statue that sits in the center of Madrid, doing our own twist on it, obviously a local black bear, and using the peace tower for that as well. Then it was time, of course, for the first game. And you know we were always going to go and do that in style. I've been chatting away for a while, so there is no better way, there's no better time for me to hand over, because truly there is no better people to hand you over to even begin to talk about what it was like in TD Place. They can't tell you better because they're the hype men themselves. They're the boys of many nicknames. Amongst CCSG crew, they've been known as the Juice Box Boys now. Juice Box Kids, you got to go find out why that nickname in a second. They're the CCSG MDOs, the chaps who make sure that the dub wasn't quiet for a single second. It's Eddie Benhin and Braden Adibe.
Well, I'm always impressed with how well Thomas speaks, and it just makes me kind of jealous. But guys, welcome. We're the co-matching officers. Brandon and I, we live football. Like, we just rushed back from University Nationals. We're there all weekend watching, scouting for the future Ottawa talent. But talking about Ottawa, Brandon, what a season this was in terms of the supporters group, right? Let's start with the first day. Opening match, Halifax. We waited the entire time. Was it 2 years? Take us through.
A long 2 years.
Let's just start at the Senate. How did you let's walk us through that day? The Senate. Pre-game.
So pre-game, first thing you're looking forward to was the pre-match. Both supporters groups were at the Senate. Many people showed up. It was around 40 people were already chanting. And then next thing you know, we're going on a march. And that march in the heart of Ottawa was the loudest thing you could even imagine. Marching down to the stadium was absolutely incredible. You had fans from different walks of life just going at it straight together. And it was a time and a half.
Words can't describe it, but video can. Roll it.
It's extra yeasty.
It'll work out. But yeah, you saw it. The first thing I look at is like, Atletico, really? Okay. So
There's a lot of comments to have on that. I mean, first of all, look at our pretty faces over there, by the way. First of all, after sitting in the rain all day yesterday, I missed that warm weather so much. Second of all, the video's hype, but after this entire season, it's kind of cringe for us. Like, we had no idea what we were doing at first, huh?
It's the common saying, you're faking it till you make it. But on that first day, everyone was buying in straight away. First game, like you were saying, everyone was so in anticipation of that first match. Everyone was willing to jump on board.
Yeah, I mean, the megaphone I had, didn't know until then that no one could hear it, but we were trying it. And I mean, we had the chance to. I had to keep looking at it over and over because I didn't know any of it. But it's really cool to see how, as the season progressed, as we got more comfortable, the dub got more comfortable. And yeah, tell us how the season went along, because there were a lot of games that came up quickly, fast, but every time, game after game, we just seen that we kept going up. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, so like you're saying, game after game, even though the first match, we can't even gloss over the fact that we had 12,000 fans in TD Place, absolutely bumping. We scored a late goal, went home with the dub, and let me tell you, the dub was absolutely packed and rocking that day. You could see the videos of the players, such as Dylan Powley, who's in the chat right now, absolutely turning up with us after. But like you were saying, it was an upward trend straight from that first game. We played against Calvary, which, again, we scored 3 goals, and you may have missed that one, but I think that was one of the best games, atmosphere-wise, that the club's ever seen.
Yeah, honestly, what we saw was a complete buy-in from everyone in the dub. Just everyone was into this club, into every song we sung. There was no just, half trying everything. It was full on. I remember you and I we could be at the bus station and we would be jumping around singing the songs. And, in the beginning we were so close to the call sheet. And then at the end, Brandon, I'm going to say you did a great job. Without you, this wouldn't have been anything. Just helping me there with the megaphone, leading chants. What was your best game? I know you're going to say Calvary, right? Other than that, is there another game you're super hyped and that's like stuck in your memory?
There's actually this one game where, yeah, I was the one up there. However, it wasn't even me leading the chants. It was the people in Section Dub and even a local soccer side. So, I believe it was Ottawa Internationals. The kids were starting the chant. As a supporter, that's what you want to see. The next generation already stepping up, leading the team. It's not just us who are a bit older, but the kids are really bought into this club, and they love it. You could tell.
I think my favorite moment had to be the Smokes. I was asking for the Smokes the entire season, and I mean, listen, you and I like to be some photo ops. I'm not going to shout out the Atletico Ottawa merch that you can buy. He's wearing some new ones. But, I mean, the Smokes, those are it creates the best atmosphere, It's chanting with Smokes. There's no doubt that the dub is the best section. What do you want to see happen next season to make sure there's no debates, that there's no other teams we're not going to mention that can, say that they're better? What do you want to see happen? Don't say flares.
Well, how'd you know? Nah, just kidding. As much as I do love pyrotechnics, flares, we'll keep that to the side for now. But we are the best section in the whole league, without a doubt. But why not bring that to multiple sections? We've seen it when we're in it, the rest of the stadium gets in it. And then the next section gets in. And then the next, and then the next. And sometimes they're starting chants, and then we're responding, and then we're starting, and then they're responding. So places like Halifax, it's also just one area. But if we could get it in multiple sections, it's going to be the most lit crowd without any doubt.
All right. You heard it here first. Professor Brandon says he wants to see a dub squared. And I mean, we're going to have to ask the players about this. And guess what? We have an opportunity to do that because Thomas has a special guest. So Thomas, you're up next. Take it away, buddy.
There you got Brandon Adibe and Eddie Benhin, obviously the chaps who have been rocking the dub, making sure that it is the best place, the funnest place to be. As Brandon said, big goals for next year, trying to spread it out. But as Eddie was saying, the best place and the best people to be able to speak to about all of this, about to talk about that place that is the dub, that is TD Place, is someone that's played in front of it for this whole season, but also someone that played in front of it for many seasons before that as well. An absolute legend when it comes to Ottawa soccer. It's a shame for him that his sister is better than him, but an absolute pleasure to welcome this evening Atletico Ottawa co-captain, Mr. Drew Becky. Drew, are you there? You can pop on screen with us? Smashing stuff. How's it going, matey? We got your mic on. How's it going? Can you hear me? Oh, we've got some technical glitches here. It's all right. It's all right. Drew's better at defending than he is streaming. That's going to be his terrible Warzone skills right here. That's all right. That's all right. There's a little insight into Drew's life here, guys. This guy, like, I heard he streams Warzone like 12 hours a day with Ben McKendry. I can't believe that he's not prime setup. I was expecting a proper like podcast mic right in front of his face as well, but the pearly whites are looking good. The pearly whites are looking good. As we wait for Drew's technical glitches to resolve themselves, I just want to remind everyone, for those that haven't been here with us before, you can reach us on all our social medias that are going across the bottom of your screen now at Capital City SG. Or you can head to our website, capitalcitysupporters.com, where you can sign up to become a member for free today. You're not going to want to miss out on that, as it gets you the red card report, where you're going to be getting 3-4 times a year. You get an email blast in there for yourself with all of the content we've been producing, as well as special offers on the merch that we have in our store that's only there for a selected amount of time as well as obviously being able to open up to some other potential offers as we launch our Ministry of Football membership coming next season. For now, what I'm going to do whilst we hold on and wait for Drew to come on, I think it's just a great time to bring my partner in crime on screen and keep me company, so you don't have to deal with another diabolical monologue like I had at the start. Can we bring Eddie Benhin back on screen there? Is this possible? Magical producers back in the realm of behind the scenes. There he is. There he is. I'm dragging him back on. Where's the juice box at? There's the juice box.
There's the juice box.
What we want to see. Eddie, I mean, whilst we wait for Drew to solve his issues, I think the big question on everyone's lips following the Twitter interaction, are you and Drew going to be having a Warzone moment during this off season? Is this
a Warzone moment?
Yeah, you're going to stream together? What's the hitch?
I mean, Battlefield just came out. I haven't really touched Warzone, but I mean, listen, if Drew wants to game, I'm always down to game. You know, he might got me beat on the pitch, but I don't know. In the virtual world, I think I got him beat there. So yes, if he wants to do that, I'm game anytime.
So just sticking to that though, no whacking out the FIFA or anything of the sorts.
I haven't played FIFA in a while, but you know, I don't think people care about my opinions on FIFA. But even if you have to play FIFA, I'm sure I can make it close for sure.
So Eddie, you went off and you were asking Brandon all the questions to begin with, but I wanted to touch bases with you. It was your first year as MDO. You're down the front. You rocked the bucket hat throughout, as you said. You never shied away from a photo shoot, and I think the audience can read from that what they wish. But how did you find the experience? In all honesty, getting down there, being sort of that center of attention that you love so much.
It was in the beginning of the season. I was quite nervous. Like that first game, I was so nervous. I had never even used a megaphone before, and I had no idea what I was doing. But as the season progressed, I got more into it. I got more into the team, and it just felt natural. And then near the end, it was just, I felt like it was just me orchestrating stuff. And then at the end of the time, near the end of the season, I didn't have to do much. It was just me. I can start the chant, and the rest of you guys would follow. And then I was noticing I didn't have to lose my voice by halftime. But it was a great time, and it allowed me to really show my passion for football, and I'm seeing that it's translating into, you know, the Carleton games I'm watching, and it's just, it was a great time, and I'm ready for next season. I know what I need to work on, and I'll be there with the megaphone.
Absolutely. All I'm hearing there basically is, as the season went on, you got lazier. Is that a fair way? No.
Or I orchestrated nicely where you guys knew what to do.
Yeah, it's called delegation. It's actually something you should probably pop on the CV as well. Eddie, thank you very much for popping on and having a chat. I think whilst Drew finishes up his stuff in the background as well, can we see if our boy is Johnny MacArthur available in the background as well, or is it not quite been his time to shine just yet? Either way. Whilst we've got you here as well, Eddie, and we wait to see if Johnny... Oh, there he is! Look at him!
Someone's looking sharp.
Little bit. I make up for the disheveled appearance with the nice blazer and the on topic shirt.
Yeah. Fantastic stuff. All right, Eddie, thank you very much for coming on and keeping me company whilst we were solving those technical issues. We're going to flow on to the next element here where, for those of you that didn't know, Johnny and I did a podcast after every home game this season. It was called ATO After the Whistle. We had a bloody wonderful time doing it. It was a bit of a learning curve as much as anything else. This man, he walks the streets of Montreal searching for those footsteps of Mr. Cohen. He's forever artsy and analytical. So Johnny, considering you suffered through quite literally my insufferable rambles, rants, and often vanilla opinions, I have to ask, did you enjoy taking part in some CCSG content creation in your first year with us?
This is fantastic. I mean, it's a group like this, you'd be crazy not to want to get in on the ground floor and just be involved. You know what I mean? Like all of us are really in love with clubs like across the ocean that were founded like 100 years before we were born. And, you know, you read all of these things and, you know, it's great, you know, in these cities that maybe we've never been to or we don't live in, obviously, but to be a part of something from the get-go is extremely important. And you'd be crazy not to want to get in on this. I mean, we're building something great here.
And I mean, like, obviously the contrasting opinion for that one, Johnny, is really, as we said, we're all addicted to football teams across on the other side of the world, other side of the ocean, other side in a totally different continent as well, that have these rich histories, because the country, a little bit like hockey is here, and even football in North America, in Canada and North America in general, is with that deep-rooted history that goes back well over 100 years. How did you find the contrast in this first season to be, would you say, like, be part of something new and groundbreaking because it's just starting, versus maybe that gap inside of you looking for something with maybe like a longer history? How did you find juggling those emotions this year?
Honestly, it's really nice because I'm a big Liverpool fan. And I found myself not caring as much about Liverpool anymore. It's all Ottawa. I mean, you follow a team for so long, but when you have one in your backyard, that just takes precedence naturally. You know, like nature just sort of figures it out. It's like, this is the one. This is the only one I care about. Like I've missed 2 Liverpool games this season. That would never happen. I just don't care anymore because I'm more interested in this.
Is that partially because Liverpool have gone and won the Champions League and the league now? So now it's like, they've done it all, I don't need to worry. Is that what you're telling me, Johnny?
I mean, maybe a little bit, but for the most part, it's because, I mean, you've got something that's part of you. You are part of we're part of the DNA of this. It's something you can really see your fingerprint on.
Yeah, and Johnny, you touch on there the fact that, for example, you missed a couple of Liverpool games, but you didn't obviously miss any Atletico Ottawa games yourself. You moved just before the home opener, unfortunately, to Montreal. Great for yourself, great for your prospects, but unfortunately away from the mighty Atleti. Has it dampened your support for them at all?
No, listen, I've been thinking about this, and I came up with this great analogy. You know, when you're a kid and you have like your favorite cousin, and you only get to see them like maybe once a year, twice a year or something. And then when your parents be like, oh, we're going to Aunt or Uncle so-and-so's house in a month, and you're going to see your cousin something. And then that's all you can think about every single night for like a month. Mm-hmm. That's me getting ready for every time I would confirm knowing I was coming back to go to a match. It's like Christmas Day every single day. And it doesn't... It didn't dampen it. If anything, it just made it stronger. I mean, you know, longing makes the heart grow fonder.
Would you be dumping Atleti if a team in Laval open up then, Johnny? Because it's closer to home.
No, absolutely not. I'd be that that annoying person that lives here that doesn't cheer for the local team. But I would have an excuse because I got one already. Sorry, I got a team already.
As you said, living in Montreal, you did manage to come down for a couple of games, though. Yeah. Talk us through that a little bit as well, that contrast to spending so many games knowing we're obviously in the dub. You can hear us you hear us when you're watching the game itself, chanting on the microphones and all that kind of stuff, versus then actually being in the dub yourself and that kind of atmosphere. Talk us through those sort of contrasting moments for yourself, because you're probably uniquely positioned for that. Someone who would always be in the dub if you had the chance, but geographically you just can't.
Well, it's massive, especially when you're watching a home game from here. The FOMO is real, especially because I was at the first game. I got the shirt to prove it. I bought this at the last game, but I was at the first game. I always forget to buy things when I'm there. But I was privileged enough to be at two of probably the best games of our season. I was at the home opener, and I was at the win against Calgary as well. Mm-hmm. And I mean, it's obviously from an analytical side, it's different watching. I mean, when you're in the section, you're drinking beer, you're singing the songs, you miss stuff all the time. It's just an experience to be there. It's like being at a concert. Like, did you remember when so-and-so, took 2 steps to the right and then played this note? No, I don't. No, I don't. But so it's a different experience from being at home. And I mean, it was nice to see both. And I mean, road tripping to see games is always a fun experience as well. So, I mean, you turn something negative as far as moving away from your local team into a positive as far as you get to experience both sides of it across a single season.
Absolutely. And Johnny, amongst the listeners who were there, obviously tuning into the podcast that we were recording together, you became very much known as as the stats man, right? Stats man's John over here. You broke down a lot of the key elements of our game. But what was your favorite bit about that? And what kind of narratives did it allow you to develop about the team? And what drew you into sort of looking at the team from that little bit more technical side, that Opta side, let's say, as you were hunting for all of the different websites with all the different statistics after every home game?
Well, I mean, everyone wants another sort of view of the story, right? I mean, we don't always trust ourselves, the eye test. It's like, I watched the game, but I don't know how smart I am. I don't know if what I saw was really what happened or how I can synthesize this information or whatnot. So you always look for either things to confirm your bias or to tell you that you were just dead wrong the whole time. One of my favorite, as you get ready for this, I looked at a bunch of season-wide stats. And basically, one of my favorite ones I come across were things to basically big up my boy, who I wrote the Golden Scarf nomination article about, was Zack Verhoeven. And I mean, I just love this kid. And these stats that I've come up with, I was looking for stats that were, best on the team type of stats. Mm-hmm. When it came to Zack, I came across a bunch of best in the league type of stats. And what I came across was both defensive and offensive stats.
Okay.
Tackles won in total. Number 1, Cisse, 50. Number 2, Zack Verhoeven, 43. Number 2 in the league for tackles won. I mean, this guy is an attacking fullback, and he is number 2 in the league for tackles won. Successful tackles per match. Mm-hmm. He's third, 1.7, behind Ruby and Jérémy Gagnon-Laparé. And for attacking assists, he is third in the league for assists, behind Warshevsky with 7 and Bustos with 6. Mm-hmm. I mean, how is someone in this high in stats for both defensive and offensive? Zack Verhoeven, I tip my hat to you. Incredible player.
Absolutely. And president and founder of Capital City Supporters Group, Daniel Duff, is the biggest and most vocal Zack Verhoeven fan out there. And he's been saying since day 2, essentially, that he's the best two-way player in the league, especially in that transition. And I think one of the very interesting about the stats that you just pointed out there, Johnny, is the fact that Zack took him a while to break into the team as well. And he didn't really start getting consistent minutes until that new formation came in. Yeah. So very interesting there. You mentioned Golden Scarf, and I think that's something we have to touch on here. The Capital City Golden Scarf Awards, where we give out the scarf to our fan-voted favorite player of the year. The fans get to nominate, the fan vote nominates 3 players. And then, as we did this year, we all went off and wrote an article about each player. And based on the merits, then it's awarded to one of the 3. So you spoke a little bit about Zack there. What about the other 2 finalists? For those that have been living under a rock, explain why those 2 were picked by the fans too.
Well, I mean, Dylan Pally, what more can you say about this guy? I mean, obviously, there's just the performance on the pitch aside. I mean, he's a lovely young man. He's like, what everywhere he's...
Are you just saying that because he was in the chat earlier? That's just all it was.
No, I would have said that even, but the fact that he was in the chat earlier just speaks to that. I mean, everywhere this guy goes, people have nothing but great things to say about him. And, you know, it's what more can you ask for in an athlete to come and play for your local club than to just be a really, really good person? But I mean, look at the stats too. I mean, the kid got the 2nd most saves in the league. Now that's kind of a loaded stat a lot of time because, you know, a lot of keepers don't face a lot of shots. We faced more shots than any club in the league this year. Yeah. And, you know, he had his save percent. He had the 2nd highest save percentage after Sirois. He has 67% save percentage, I think, this season, which was actually more. I don't want to start a war or anything, I guess, but he actually had a slightly higher save percentage than Connor James.
Well, I don't think you can start a war with Connor James. The chap has already said he's moving away from the game. I think it's a low blow at that point, Johnny.
I just meant that. Listen, like he obviously he deserves to be a number 1. He is a number 1 keeper, and he came here and he did the darn thing.
Yeah, and then casting our eyes over to the Golden Scarf winner himself, Malcolm Shaw, the chap who's got the 2 goals for us in the Island Games last year and obviously hit double digits this year in the first relatively, as we said at the start, full season. What did you make of Malcolm Shaw's season, Johnny? And have you got a couple of little tidbits to sort of back that up?
I mean, obviously he had a good Island Games, as much as anyone could have had a good Island Games. Such a weird season. And the fact that he came back the next year in a full season and managed to be in the Golden Boot race in a team like ours is, I mean, perseverance, attitude, incredible. I mean, what did he finish with? 10 goals. I think only 3 of them were pens. One of my favorite stats actually when I was looking this up was that I was looking at big chances missed. Remember when I was talking about how clinical I think that Malcolm Shaw is? How clinical of a finisher? Yeah. Every single club except for York has an attacking player with more missed big chances than Malcolm Shaw does.
Clinical when he gets around that 6-yard, around that 18-yard area especially, right?
Everyone else is less clinical than he is.
All right, Johnny, you've laid it out there. Absolutely. Malcolm Shaw, will you take him back next year, yay or nay?
Of course.
Set you up for that one, really, didn't
I?
All right, just before we let you go, Johnny, thank you so much for your contributions with Capital City this year. We've loved having you on board. Love that you've remained committed and dedicated and wanted to contribute despite being away. As we said, the stats man himself, it would be crazy to not allow us to end on that as well. Can you give me 3 stats that sum up Atletico Ottawa's season for you and why?
I mean, I think I went over them. I mean, the Verhoeven stats for me were just insane. I think the shots against stats and a little bit of less of a celebratory note was a big defining moment of our season. I think that a lot of people want to blame a keeper for letting in a lot of goals. They want to blame a defense for letting in a lot. We play a certain style of football that invites pressure almost. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. And I mean, when we concede as many shots on target as we do, the inevitable is going to happen, and then the inevitable did happen. So it's our first full season. There's things that you learn from, but I think that's a defining stat for us. Shots on target, we faced, from my account, 149 of them.
Absolutely. All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, that was Johnny MacArthur with all of the stats. Thank you again so much, Johnny, for coming on, laying down your perspective as well. And of course, if you want to go back and now you're hungry for a little bit of content during this off season, go back and listen to ATO After the Whistle, available on SoundCloud at the moment as well. And that will be available next year, especially to Capital City members when you'll get access to a back catalogue. All right, just I kind of booted Johnny off screen there a little bit because the diva himself takes precedent, which we're going to give him one more try because I don't know how many attempts we can give the key centre back for Atletico Ottawa to get his mic working. So Drew, how are you?
I'm sorry, I was trying to join you on my iPad here. I had to switch over to my computer, so we're good to go now.
No, it's quite all right. I was giving you a little bit of a hard time there, but I do very much appreciate. I know that you're in your off season and you're taking time out of your like family schedule as well to take time and speak with us this evening. So we're super appreciative of that. So thank you very much for coming on.
No problem. There's really it's cliche, but there's not really much of an off season. You got to prepare for the next year, and this is part of that is building the culture, and you guys are doing a fantastic job of that. So thanks for having me.
No, thank you. I mean, like, whilst we're on that topic, can you give us a little insight into for the fans as to what the off season, as you say, for Drew Becky is looking like at the moment?
Well, I've taken the last few weeks off, let the body rest a little bit, but I'll get back into it next week, and it's just more ticking over at the moment. You don't want to do too much too early. I'm in the States right now. I'm visiting some family and have a little vacation coming up, but yeah, for right now, just sticking over and relaxing, doing some reading, stuff like that. And but yeah, you try not to get too out of shape. And then when you hit 2022, you start ramping things up a little bit. So.
Yeah, well, thanks. Yeah. You didn't have to point out that I'm getting a little out of shape, but that's quite all right. No, Drew, I mean, whilst we got you here, there is, we said before, there's a certain amount that can be said and has been said about Atletico Ottawa's season itself. It was the first full season, and there was trials and tribulations throughout, and I think it's one of those that you've had to speak about 1,000,001 times with 1,000,001 different people. So kind of like to take it in a bit of a different direction this evening, if that's all right for you. You, as a man, as a player, you've kind of been there, seen it all. You've played in clubs all over the United States, as well as obviously the former team that was here in Ottawa as well. Looking at Atletico Ottawa in this first season that you've been involved with them, what do you make of this brand new side in the CPL and the sort of culture the organisation is trying to cultivate here in the capital city?
Well, for me, it ticks all the boxes. That's kind of why I signed on to be a part of this project. I'm just one part of that. So there's the front office staff. There's our staff with Mista and the coaches, and then there's the players. And obviously, without the players, the club doesn't exist. So you have to focus mainly on the players, and I believe the players are the most important part of a club, right? But we can't do our job without the front office staff. We can't do our job without the staff, and we're all on this wheel here that would fall off if it weren't for each part. And we have all the ingredients. Well, that's front office side, that's budget, that's culture, that's you guys, the supporters, that's all those things going together. It's here for the taking. And we always want things so quickly. We always want that instant gratification, but as we've kept saying, and it kind of goes along the line of what you guys are saying, it takes time. And we don't want any more time to go by, but we're looking pretty confident going into the next year.
Okay, Grant, you mentioned the supporters element as well. Being a supporters group ourselves, it's almost something like self-gratifying sometimes asking these kind of questions. But how much of an impact did the fans have, in your opinion, on the team this year? I mean, like the stats, as Johnny MacArthur would love to point out, kind of speak for themselves in that record in home and away. So what did you make of the showing that you saw here? Because, I mean, you've seen the showings in years gone by with the other team that was here as well, whether it be at home, online, in the stadium, whatever else. That relationship the fans have managed to be able to nurture with this team, despite the fact that they've not been able to really see the team at all in the 18 months since it started. And for every game came out in full force. What have you kind of made, again, as I said, this capital city is one thing, but there's 2,000 to 3,000 fans in this stadium the whole time, and they're all still making some noise and cheering you guys on.
Yeah, it's honestly arguably the most important aspect of the club, especially this season. Spending all that time in Spain, then coming back, being in quarantine, then spending all that time in Winnipeg, and not knowing exactly when stuff's going to happen. And it was the same for everybody. And so to come back to see that reception, especially, not only take away the first game is great, but continuing through, 10 home games where a team's maybe not doing as well as they should be or want to be. And, there's a sense of frustration on that side to stick by us and show that this still matters, show that the sport in this country is growing and that it's a special thing. It really means a lot to us, and it means a lot for the future, right? And that's what we're going for, right? This is a project for the future, not only for us as players, but for the country as a whole and the CPL. So it matters immensely, and we can't, speaking for myself only, I can't thank you guys enough for the support that you've provided myself and everybody else.
Well, great to hear, and I'm sure all of the fans watching on this evening will love to hear that yourself. You speak about the way the sport is growing in this country as well, and I think there's no better testament to that than what we saw literally this week, right, with the men's team. But then even going back, and I think the pioneers for it, the people that have really been dragging the sport forward in this country has been the women's team, the XNT team as well. For you, we can't have a conversation without talking about that gold medal weekend here that you had in Ottawa. How was that for you, for your sister, for your whole family to have that day, especially in a city like Ottawa, a city that adores you on the soccer side as well? And how would you say football has sort of influenced your relationship with your siblings as well? Has it been something to bond over or to fight over?
Oh, it's definitely bonding over. Yeah, I have three sisters in total, and we're always talking in some capacity. Not really about soccer in general, just every day we're talking. And it was special to have my mom be able to come up for that, and I hadn't seen Janine in almost 2 years, so it's been a long time, and I hadn't seen my mom in a while, and that's kind of goes for the par for everybody. With COVID going on, but to have it in Ottawa and to have the gold medal winning team in Ottawa in front of fans that they hadn't had in the Olympics, it was really special. I think it's one of those things that becomes more special the more time you reflect on it. And it was just kind of, I can't really put it into words. You can say that your sister won a gold medal. That's great. That's really cool. Not many people can say that, and so that's special not only for her but for me and my family too. And it just it sets the bar high for what they want to do in the future. It sets the bar high for the men's team. It sets the bar high for us. That these things are achievable, and the youth players, whatever they may be, they might be basketball players, they might be hockey players. It shows that it can be achievable in this country, whatever you want to do, and we need examples for that. And so, nothing better than the women's team right there.
Absolutely, you're absolutely right. Were you able to go out with Janine after, or was she whisked straight up to Montreal with the rest of the group?
They had a nice kind of reception after the game for some friends and family. We were able to go and see them and talk, and got to speak with, just catch up with some of the players and that I know decently. And it's great to see the human side of them as well, because you don't get to, you see them playing, right? Excuse me, but they're much more than that, right? They do a lot of great things off the field, and they're going to have a long career after soccer, right? So it's good to get to know them on that side.
Absolutely, and that actually leads me on really nicely to the final question I wanted to ask you this evening, Drew, was exactly about that sort of human side away from players. And I feel like it's been such a shame for the fans in this city this year that due to the pandemic, there's sort of been this barrier that maybe wasn't there beforehand in years gone by of being able to get to know the players on a bit more of a personal level. That final end of year event was a fantastic opportunity to get to see your personalities and characters a little bit. So with that sort of said itself, would you be able to give us maybe a little peek behind the curtain of what it was like to be part of this group, not just of players obviously, but of people, of human beings? Do you have any moments that stand out and sort of sum up how it felt?
Well, I'd say the first thing that I loved about this group was the resilience. There's a lot of things that went against us this year, a lot that I haven't experienced in my career. We had a lot of guys that had trouble speaking English. We had guys that didn't speak Spanish. We had a coach who was doing his very best to learn a language and live in another country and develop a team, and with all the culture and all that stuff that goes on with it. So I'm really proud of the guys and their resilience, especially with a lot of people that don't have a ton of experience. This is a year that I think they'll look back on and say, oh, I remember 2021 and that pushed me on to this, or that pushed me on to that. And we all have those years. We all have those moments. So whether you take it with a negative aspect or a positive aspect, we'll see here in the next couple of years. And I'm excited to see where these players go, whether they come back or not, just follow their careers. But beside that point, we just had a lot of special guys who sacrificed, when there was a lot they couldn't control, right? We're going against teams that have been together 2 or 3 years, that have developed club culture and have that kind of closeness with the fans a little bit, right? The fans know the players. You guys only got to see us 10 games. That's nothing, right? And you didn't even get to interact. You didn't get to come on the field. You saw us at the end of the year party, but that was really special. You made note of that. And those are the important moments, right? When you invest something and you get to know the people that you're with, whether it's in business or in life, you're more invested and you're more willing to support that person, to be better and all those things. So as we continue along building the culture, right, this is not a 2 or 3 year project. This is 10, 20 years that we want things to be around, because as we saw, the Fury built something and we're gone. I've seen that in the NASL. I've seen that in MLS clubs, all those things. So if we can continue with this business and culture build, then we'll see dividends going into the future. But in terms of the guys in training, everybody was fantastic, right? We would be, whatever the weather was, whether it was too hot or too cold, whether we were in a different location with, the COVID rules at TD Place, every week was different. I'm just going to stick with resilience, and whether the guy spoke English or Spanish, it didn't matter. We were all together, and it was a really special year, without the results.
Yeah, spoken obviously like the true leader and like co-captain that you were. I was like, maybe he'll single someone out there, but great to absolutely point out that group unity that was really there. Drew, I just want to end on this final note, give you a platform. Is there a message you want to give out there to any of the fans who are watching this, whether they're watching us live right now, which, by the way, if you're watching this live, show the love for Drew Becky in that group chat right now, in the chat box just to the side of the screen. For you, Drew, just the platform. Is there anything you want to say to the fans out there?
Well, I'll thank you personally, because we're talking here, and I know you're a part of a bigger group here with Eddie and all these guys, and the great work that Nick's done in the front office to connect with you guys. This is if not, obviously the on-field results are important. Yes, of course, the players are important, but the aspect of you guys having this season review, the aspect of you guys doing the podcast and doing all these things on a consistent basis is very special, not only to me, but to the players, because it shows you're invested just like we are. We don't find success without you guys. And so I just want to personally thank you for that, and give you encouragement to continue this, because it is being seen for sure. CPL is growing. Atletico Ottawa is an amazing brand, and we want to continue that brand, but it doesn't happen without people like you guys. The game day tifos are really special. You guys go into the tavern to watch our games when we're away. CPL has done a great job with One Soccer to broadcast the games. I can tell you it's far and away better than USL. It's arguably better than some MLS markets. So to that regard, thank you guys, because you're a big part of that, and I can't wait to see it in the years to come.
Smashing stuff. Drew Becky there, obviously co-captain of Atletico Ottawa, and based on the way you're talking, can we make the assumption that we're going to see you back in the capital next season?
Yes, I'll be there. I'll be there.
Fantastic stuff. There we go. You heard it here, guys. Show the love to Mr. Drew Becky, and thank you very much once again for popping on.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much for having me.
Cheers, Macy. All right, so Drew Becky there, we finally managed to resolve those technical glitches and got him on. What a moment that was as well, to hear about that unity in the team as well, and to hear the confirmed words, the confirmation that he will be back in the capital city next year as well. I feel like I've been on screen for quite a while. So I'm going to step away from this because as great as it is to hear from the likes of Drew, as great as it is to hear from the likes of Johnny, who's been doing content with us as well, it really comes down to fans. As Drew was saying, it's all about the people that make the game work. So on that note, I'm going to bring Eddie back on screen and let him chat away with a couple of CCSG members who are joining us live this evening to talk about some of their favourite moments of this season. Tripping over my words, I need a glass of water, Eddie. Tag me out, would you?
You did a good job. And I mean, shedding a tear, Drew, that was very, it was very fun this season. And I mean, I feel like everyone connected really well. And even just disregarding the results in the field, we built a culture. And that was the goal with Capital City heading into the season, was to build something, a foundation to build off. And I feel that's what we did. And I'm glad the players felt that. It's nice to see that, the little work you do behind the scenes with, your great podcast and stuff is being recognized. So, Drew, happy. And that's the first confirmation, right? The first player that's confirmed back.
I was going to say, I had to ask the question because as much as it was implied, I think that is first confirmation of a returning Atletico.
So you heard it here first. Capital City, we have the inside scoop. So what are you guys doing? Go check out our website. Go join as members so you don't miss it out. But like you said, we wouldn't be able to do this without fans. We're just a bunch of, random guys, three of us. Everything is built around the fans here. So I think it's a good time to bring on some fans and find out what their thoughts on the season was. So first up, I don't know who's going to be up first, but if you guys are liking the stream, make sure to hit the like button. Like I said, visit capitalcitysupporters.com. Join as a member. It's free. You're going to miss that. This way you won't miss out on any content. Even though we're in the off season, we will be dropping content. Like I said, Brandon and I are right now at watching University Nationals. There's a lot of future prospects that Ottawa could draft, so draft content will be coming later. So make sure to check us out on all our socials so you don't miss it. But this upcoming segment, we will be interviewing some fans, the producer behind. We'll see who comes up first, probably like Royal Rumble. But I believe the first person goes by the name of Patrick. Dorman, how is it going? I like the hoodie.
Thanks, brother. How you doing, Eddie?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Good, man. Good. Happy to be on the stream.
I need to say thank you for giving me that new megaphone.
Of course.
In the good season. If you guys didn't know, the reason why we upgraded was because this kind guy right here. Yeah. Biggest, and you also put tape over the megaphone, right? You did.
Yeah, of course. You gotta jazz it up for the Letty, right? So
thank you for that. You created a great atmosphere. But what would you say your top moment of the year was? I know we only had 11 games, but it felt so jam-packed. So many different things happened. It's a loaded question.
It is a little bit. Honestly, I would say probably the game against Valor on the 20th of October. There was just, there's something about that game. It got to the point in the season where, the team had come together a little bit. The fan group had come together a little bit. The chants were relatively known, which was good from the start of the season till then. But yeah, it was probably my favorite game. Honestly, the dub was electric that game. We had the Smokes finally, which came in thanks to Eddie's work with the club. And it was just a good game. I mean, the first half was a little rough. We looking in on how the team is performing. I know I talked to Thomas at halftime as part of the podcast to say, where's the issue? Where's the, it was 0-0 at half. I think we were down maybe 60-40 possession split. So, it became a question of like, where's the problem? So him and I talked about it. And I said, looking out on the field from the fan section, I mean, yes, we chant and we bang the drums and we sing the songs. And sometimes, as they said, we miss out on parts of the game, let's say. But those of us who have played the game, and know a little bit about the structure, I said to Thomas, I said, the midfield is our problem. And he said, well, what do you mean? I said, the structure in the midfield, we're constantly losing the ball in the midfield. And then, start of the half, Thomas looked at me and pointed, he said, they did it. And they subbed in, I think it was Manila, to change up the midfield structure. And then, 10 minutes later, Shaw put one in the back of the net. And then 10 minutes after that, I think it was Telfer. And it's like Johnny said, when he was talking about Zack Verhoeven, as a playmaker, both assists in that game were from Zack Verhoeven, both goals. And, in a game where we're down possession wise, we don't have as accurate passing as the Valor stats wise. it came down to structure in the second half, and I think that's what put us over the top. And then obviously the dub going wild at the end of the game, smokes going off, all that stuff. So I would say that's probably the memory that sticks out in my mind for the season. One of many, I guess.
For sure. Have you been on the HEO After the Whistle podcast at all?
I haven't. I'm hoping next season. You'll
Because
bring
I'm
me in.
looking at a lot of good analytics here. I don't know, Thomas. I don't know what's going on, but you made some great points. That whole game leading up to it, I know the team was in a bad stretch, and there was just this feel of like we needed to win really badly.
For sure.
And there was this weird, I don't know, there was an energy in the stadium. I felt it the entire game. I don't know. Like I stopped multiple times during that game and looked around. It was just a weird energy, like a really hyped energy.
Yeah, it was electric. It was you really feel in the dub. You could feel that something was going to happen. It's just when and where, right? So
yeah, and of course the smoke show. It produced a video I threw out. I mean, I loved it.
For sure.
I'm sure Brandon loved it. But yeah, no, that's a great memory.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's a really top memory. That's probably one of my favorite games there. The atmosphere there was electric, and you didn't make a lot of good points. I think that was one of the start of when we started to change formations and stuff.
Yeah,
too.
yeah, and I had made that comment I think to a couple people in the section, but also to some of the CCSG. After that game, I don't know if Mista had changed up the general structure or how we were passing the ball or what, but I do think that you're right. That was kind of I'll call it a TSN turning point for the team on. I said, where was this team all season? Like, I just feel like that was the first time that they really like clicked together as a team. And then we got to see it, towards the end of the season too. I mean, yeah, we had some unlucky calls, and I'm not going to single out the referees on this one, but I do think that was an important step for us. And it'll be nice to see, like Drew was saying, as the team gels together and gets more seasons together, and we develop a little bit of a culture within the players. How we'll start moving up the standings, because we finished 8th, but I don't feel like we should be there. We got a couple unlucky bounces, I'll call them. Some weird calls. And we never really got blown out. It was always like a tight game. It's 2-1, 3-1, 3-2, kind of those kind of games. So it's heartbreaking, but at the same time, it's a good start, I think, for the rest of this season next year, and moving forward, obviously. So yeah, no, that's a great highlight of the season, and I'm going to be making sure you get on some of the episodes because you got some good analysis there. For sure.
So looking forward. Thank you for everything this season.
Yeah, of course.
And looking forward to next season.
Yeah, me too, man. Me too, for sure.
All right, take care, Patrick.
Cheers, brother.
All right, next up, we have one of our drummers. A very key part of the dub was keeping the rhythm, keeping the beats going. Because, singing, we can do it European style where we're just singing all the time. But drums always makes it better. So it's time to bring on Megan for our next interview. Megan, how's it going?
Woo!
Love the shirt.
Really
Love
good,
the
yeah.
shirt.
Yeah.
So, same question. What was your favorite moment of the season?
Well, forgive me, because my favorite moment is a bit of a cheat, because it's the end result of a culmination of moments, really. As well, part of the story happened after a match, but hear me out. And I hope, by the way, that Dylan Pally doesn't mind me telling all of you the story, because I know he's listening. But at the end of our last home match against York United, he and the rest of the team came by the dub to thank us and show us their gratitude like they usually do. And I noticed that he was grateful, but a bit on the quiet side. And I mentioned to him a bit later on that I was sorry that he looked bummed about the result, as it was yet another draw against York United. But it turns out that he wasn't bummed at all. In actuality, he was trying to simply take it all in, because he isn't sure that he will ever experience an environment quite like the dub again if he does go anywhere else in 2022. So my favorite moment is therefore a combination of the dub jump, the Dylan Pally chant, the wonderfully silly dance that we all did at the home opener. The songs Bryce created with his kids wearing masks that frankly look like they're from the Purge movie series, but also the feel the chants gave the players to make comebacks at home. So the end result was that we ended up giving Pally an experience that he'll hold in his heart for the rest of his life. So that gift we gave him is my favorite moment of this season.
Yeah, no, those are great memories. I mean, it really shows the impact the dub had on those players. But I actually want to talk with you. How did you get involved with the drumming, and how was that experience? Drumming for, the entire stadium, right? Leading the rhythm. How was that?
Honestly, I've never taken a lesson a day in my life. The last time I played an instrument on a regular basis was, full disclosure, way back in 4th grade. I ended up starting drumming the very last Fury season 2019. I just decided, well, why not want to give up on waving the flag all the time and just try and jump and make even more noise. And then this season, just before the season started, I ended up going to about a half a dozen pawn shops, just trying to find a drum of my own that I can play, or that anybody else who in CCSG who wants to play can play it. And that's how it snowballed from there, really.
Yeah. No, thank you so much for the drumming. Next season, we're going to get it all geared out with Capital City stuff. But Megan, thank you for everything this season. Great memories. And hopefully this offseason will be short, so, we can reconnect soon again. But thank you.
Oh, I already have withdrawal symptoms. I have chants in my head all the time. So.
Don't we all? But thank you so much, Megan.
Thanks. Yeah.
All right, next up, we have the man with the cowbell and the man with the very scary mask. Who is the man underneath those masks, though? He goes by the name of Bryce. So, Bryce, he has the mask on, so maybe you won't see who he is. How's it going? Oh, there he is. Oh, put it back on.
Let me get my juice box. Okay, we're good.
Right.
Speaking of my cowbells, at the second last home game, and this one's actually split. So I'm going to have to invest in some better cowbells before next season.
Yeah, the cowbells, you kept rhythm with them. That's all we can ask for. You kept rhythm. So, Bryce, first of all, before I ask for your memory, what is the origin behind the mask?
I just thought it would look comforting to some and extremely scary for others. And really, I thought my kids would look great in some super scary masks. And with some of the stupid videos I've been making with them, I didn't want their faces everywhere all the time. So it was a mix of all that, but really it's been great. And I at the last Red Blacks game, I ran into some friends, and one of them was wearing an Atletico hat. And I said, "Oh, do you go to those games?" He goes, "Yeah." I go, "I'm the guy in the mask." He's like, "Oh yeah, we saw you." I'm like, "Yeah, great."
No, you're for sure a standout figure in all Atletico games across the league. You're known as the guy with the cool mask. Of course, you did them for the Canada games.
The first game, they didn't want to let me in. They said, "Oh, you can't wear that mask." I was like, "Oh, are you serious?" And I was like, "Oh, and next week I was in your promotional material."
But you didn't mention the videos you're making online. You had a lot of creative videos that, kind of went viral around the city. Talk us through that. Like, what was going through your head,
Well, I have an issue with some production skills at the moment. Like, I have two kids, and so the one I made two months ago, that went up in views, and everybody saw it, and that actually led to my greatest personal moments of the year. But the second one, I had a fresh baby, and it was like, oh, I just want to get something out before the last home game. So I think it was a better song than the first one, but it didn't get as much play and wasn't as well received. But I'll let you know right now, I've made one that's better than both of those, and it's ready, and you'll see it soon. So I'm just letting you know. But
wow,
if you don't like kids in masks, you may not want to watch it.
Thanks for the warning. All right, Bryce. So now the question of the day. Yep. What was your favorite moment of the season?
Well, free beer is always a great moment. So after that video went viral, there were some parents of players that started interacting with me. And that next home game, Antoine's parents brought me a beer, introduced themselves. It was fantastic. And that was very great. And then I think it was the next game. I was leaving the game. I was a little inebriated, and I was unlocking my bike. And Malcolm Shaw's parents came to me and stopped me and wanted a picture with me. And so that was another fantastic thing. So it was for me, with getting the team and then having to watch them play in PEI and then having to watch them play in the bubble in Winnipeg, when that team finally came here and we started being able to actually build some connections with the team, that's what's meant the most for me. And like Drew was mentioning, yeah, we finally got these interactions between players and fans. And for me, those parents, Antoine's parents, Malcolm's parents, Dylan's parents, giving us a tab at the tavern for that last away game. I mean, all that stuff is incredibly important to us. And you know, for some of us that are putting work in to have something that reciprocated to us and to feel that love coming back to us is fantastic. And I know that my kids love it. It's going to keep them enthralled as we go through the years. And it makes me want, you know, I'm already starting to think about what we got to make before next year. How are we going to keep it going? What are we going to create? So
exactly. And this is what we're talking about with the foundation. We're building a culture here, and you're a huge part of that. So thank you. And I mean, I don't know who's watching with the club, but if you guys need a mascot, there's this guy right here. I mean, clearly people want pictures of them, everything.
Well, if you can't find that Sparky costume, because really,
we can find it somewhere, 100%.
And we've seen that Atletico Madrid mascot. He's fantastic. Why can't he do some away games over here?
Hey, I like that. All right, that's something to look forward for in offseason. But Bryce, thank you so much for everything you did. Looking forward to connecting in offseason. We can cook up some chants, you know, hit the studio.
Let's do it.
I got my juice box. You know how we roll at watch parties.
I might see you Sunday, you know, if Carlton's playing Guelph.
Okay, we'll see about that.
All right.
But catch you later, Bryce. Thank you so much.
Buddy.
And last but not least, we have the man who probably got so fit now from waving the flag nonstop. The one and only Paul. Get on here. I have some questions for you, buddy. This man, there he is.
Hello, how you doing, Eddie?
How's it going, man?
It's going good. It's going good.
How did you end up with the role of waving that flag? Because I remember I had to do that with the Fury, and I could not last 20 minutes. How did you last 90 minutes, game in, game out?
So essentially, it started like a week before the opening game of the season for Atletico, all the way in August 15th. My good friend hit me up about the season and telling me I should come out and join the supporters group. It'll be a good time. I showed up. I remember I went to the tavern and I saw everyone. Everyone was so warm and welcoming. And then we were going to do the march, and they needed someone to wave the flag. So I was like, I volunteered. I grabbed the flag. We did the march. It was a lot of fun. We were walking down the street. Everyone was turning as we were singing, LA, 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 LA. And from that point on, I was the flag guy. The flag didn't leave my hand when we got to the stadium, and I just kept waving it the whole game. It was lovely. Yeah.
You were down, you know, pitch side as well, you know, with Brandon and I.
Yeah.
How was the whole section W, you know, from your perspective? How was that?
It was rocking all season long. We brought the energy, we brought the passion. We were there every game 10 minutes before we set up. And pretty much our job was just to make sure the whole stadium was like keeping the energy going for the players. And it was rocking. Like, I don't think there was a moment where we weren't singing the whole season. Like, we kept the energy up. Like, I was doing the flag, you were on the microphone with the D-Bay. And it is honestly some of the most fun I've had all year. I think as the seasons go on in the future, the W section is only going to get bigger and bigger. And like one day, I feel like the whole section is going to be packed and it's going to be going all the way down the stadium. And everyone's going to be singing and chanting along with us.
Yeah, no, for sure. But now the question, your favorite moment of the season. You know, we've had, you know, the Valor game. We've had the nice connections with the players' parents and just the players in general. What is your favorite moment from the season?
It has to be the opening game of the season. I think there was how many people at the stadium? 15,000 at TD Place. We were playing against Halifax Wanderers. We went down 1-0, and then Malcolm Shaw tied the game up at the 29th minute. And then late in the second half, first game of the season, Brian Wright, 87th minute, last minute goal. The W section was ecstatic. The limbs were flying everywhere. It was honestly one of the most cherished moments I've ever had at a football match. Like, it was truly special to get that win at the first game of the season. and for everyone in Ottawa to kind of get a glimpse at like what soccer is. I feel like a lot of people at that stadium, that might have been their first soccer game. And I think they got a really special match and something they remember for a long time. Something that I know I'll remember for a long time.
No,
Yeah.
I agree. That was a great moment. It was this fairy tale ending, right? But thank you for everything this season. You hopped on with us for the halftime shows that you can find on Twitter. Great analysis as well. Thomas, it's another guy you got to keep adding to your podcast. Keep giving you guys to people. But you and Christina were just the flag, demons nonstop. And I do apologize for, scorching your flag with the smoke. We'll learn to handle it better. But thank you so much, Paul, for everything, and looking forward to
That's all good.
All right. Take care, Paul.
Yeah. We'll see each other soon, man. Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right. Well, you guys heard from 4 fans. There's a lot of great memories. Thank you to all these people and everyone who else is watching. You guys made the season what it was. We couldn't have done any of this without you. All the noise, everything you guys done behind the scenes, the game day before, much appreciated. But now it's moving on to the 2022 season. And with that comes season tickets. And what better way to pitch season tickets than bringing on the director of ticketing himself, Nick Ryan. We meet again. How's it going, buddy?
Eddie, sorry, I can't hear you. Can you repeat that? I can't hear you over your shirt.
The shirt. It's always the shirt, It's always the shirt. Well, what's wrong with the shirt,
No, it's just loud. It's loud. I love it.
Loud. Okay. Well, I'm not gonna grill you yet. I'm gonna give you the platform to give your sales pitch for the 2022 season tickets. Take it away.
Sure. 2022 is going to be a great year. My most favorite thing about 2022 right now is 15 games over 6 months. It's not 2.5 months, 11 games every 3 days, which was phenomenal. When we were waiting 1.5 years to get our fill of Atletico Ottawa, right? And we got it in a very short period of time. But it's going to come fast and furious next year. April kickoff, going all the way till October. The number one biggest perk is you're getting not this jersey, but a jersey, a home jersey. It will be red and white. I can break that news right now. Drew Becky's back next year, and the jersey will be red and white. That's all you're going to know.
Okay.
And going to get a season seat member scarf, exclusive scarf for next year, included with your season seats. So starting at $274 to sit in the dub, season seat, 15 games, jersey, exclusive scarf, and ticket flexibility. Let me tell you about ticket flexibility, Eddie. What do you think ticket flexibility is?
I think it's when you're flexible with your tickets.
Riveting stuff.
Try my best.
You let me know, or my colleagues know, 48 hours before the game that you can't come. We're going to take your ticket, give you a credit on your account, and you can apply that credit to future games. So more or less, no need to worry about what the schedule looks like, because if you can't make it to a game, you can bank that game and use it at a future game. So you can bring your friends, bring your family. You can upgrade your seats to the club level or Section S for 1 game of the season or 2 games, depending on how many you miss. Obviously, we want you to come to every game, but we understand, you might not be able to make it. I'm getting married next year. I don't even know if I'm going to be at every game. So, you never know. You never know. But go ahead.
So if we have season tickets and we can't make a game, right? So if we miss a game, then we can maybe bank that and invite, bring a friend for another game.
It's all about keeping your value with you, right? We had people this year, and it was a given. It was going to happen. There's 11 games in 2.5 months. How are you going to make every game, right? I made every game. But Eddie, did you make every game?
Unfortunately not.
No. So ticket flexibility would have been great for you, right?
It would have. Yes.
So more or less, we want to keep the value with the customer. If you come to me next November and you say, Nick, I only made 10 out of 15 games. Why would I buy a season seat next year? There's no excuses at this point, hopefully, right? Where you can tell me ahead of time, Nick, I can't make the game. I'd love to save my money for a future game. All we do is we cancel your ticket. We put them on sale to someone else so someone else can sit in your seat. And then we have a credit for your value of your ticket on your account. So if you're in the dub, $18 per ticket sitting on your account. You can use for a future game.
So the big question everyone's going to have, obviously this season we got One Soccer, I believe, for free. What's going to be the deal with One Soccer next season?
It's a good question, Eddie. I'm working on it for the folks. It's not going to be included with the membership. What we tried to do, so we launched as a team in 2020. We said One Soccer and a jersey is included, right, with your membership. This year we gave you One Soccer. We didn't give you a jersey for various reasons. This upcoming year, we're giving you that jersey. So hopefully we're fulfilling on our promises here that we made 100 years ago, right? So as we look into next year, unfortunately, One Soccer doesn't necessarily want to do it the way where they give people memberships. And we were actually the only team that gave our fans a One Soccer membership this year. I think Pacific did a version of it. Most of the other teams gave the fans a discount code where you as a fan can go on and buy your One Soccer code at a discounted price. So we hope to do it in a similar way. Oh, shout out to Nick and Caitlin. Look at that. Shout out to the team. So we hope to do it in that similar way where, as a season seat member, maybe you can get it for $80 as opposed to $120 because you're a season seat member. That being said, shout out to One Soccer for not replying to my emails because I have emailed them 7 or 8 times. And I'm not even being sarcastic. And I'll call them out anytime. Because it's a little bit bullshit that they can't make up their minds right now on what they want to offer our fans, being the literal only provider of Canadian soccer in Canada, right? Like, come on. Like,
this show is, you're getting all the inside takes. You're getting, the director ticketing, calling out One Soccer. How can you not love football in Ottawa? But from everything I heard, you're getting a great value, and I don't see why you shouldn't get your season tickets. So, Nick, thank you so much. If you haven't, go buy your season tickets. And Nick, thank you so much for, being a great representative for everyone this entire season. I saw you on Twitter all the time. You're the main man helping with everyone. And obviously it was a very difficult season, the first one at home with the pandemic. And you did a fantastic job. We thank you so much. Congratulations. You're going to get married. And excited to work with you. And also thank you for, dealing with me and, my annoying self with all the stuff we wanted in the dub. So thank you so much for getting the platform and smokes and stuff like that. So thank you so much for a great season. And if you guys have any questions about season tickets or tickets in general, Nick, how can we reach you?
I mean, almost anywhere, like Twitter, nicholas.ryan@atletico-ottawa.club, info@atletico-ottawa.club, tickets@atletico-ottawa.club. I manage all of them. The other big ones, like, it's $274 to sit in the dub. You get a jersey and a scarf. Jersey is $120. Scarf is $25. And you get 15 professional soccer games to attend. So, like, we try and make it literally no excuse to attend these matches, right? Other than that, I just want to thank you guys for all the hard work you've done this year. I know it's been a difficult year leading up to the last 18 months up until now. So I can't tell you on our, because right now what I'm doing is calling everyone. I'm calling all the fans. I haven't called you yet, Eddie. I haven't called Thomas because you guys are easy. I got to call the hard people, right? I talk to you guys on the regular, but I'm calling everyone right now, and I can't tell you how many people are moving from Section S, Section R, Section T, Section Q, U to Section W, and it pains me, but I love it. Like, I'm like, damn it, because revenue is going like this, because tickets are obviously more expensive than the other. But I can't tell you how many people want to sit in Section W. Like, I think today I sold 7 or 8 new people in Section W that, like, are young people that just are having a good time. They came to one game this year, and they came to the women's national team game. And they're like, we want to support soccer in Ottawa, and we want to sit in Section W. So you guys are doing the right things. But I'd only want to thank you. Like, all the fans are doing a great job. And almost every call I have, I'm not kidding you, Section W comes up. And I can't believe how many people are talking about what a great atmosphere and experience they're having at our games when our attendance is 3,000. Like, it blows my mind. So next year will be, 4,000 or 5,000. The year after will be 5 or 6 maybe, then 6 or 7. So keep up what you guys are doing. Thanks to Daniel and Thomas and the rest of the crew. And Paul, who's Paul? I haven't met Paul. I'm ready to meet Paul. I think I met him maybe dabbed hands at the bottom of the dub after a few games, but I want to meet Paul.
For sure. We'll meet Paul soon. Paul's a great guy. But One Soccer, answer his damn emails. Come on now. He's trying to help the Ottawa folks. Let's answer his damn emails. But thank you, Nick. Thank you so much. We'll stay in touch. Thank you for everything you do. Catch you later. Now, I'm feeling like Thomas. I've been talking a lot. So it's time to bring this British boy back in. Thomas, get back in here. We got to wrap up the show. If you're still awake, I know it's past your bedtime. Oh, there he is. Oh, he's on mute.
Pack it in, you merry little boy. All I'm going to take from that, by the way, Eddie, some smashing interviews there from the guest panels to Nick as well. It's great information there. But all I'm hearing is Dub is popping off next year. Everyone's moving over.
Have you
hottest real estate in town.
Have you got your season tickets yet?
No, he hasn't called me.
I haven't got my season tickets either. Nick, reserve our spots, all right? Just please, we need to be there. But you guys heard it here first. The dub. So maybe Brandon's idea of dub squared, moving over, it might happen quicker because the dub's gonna be sold out. So people are gonna get, the closest section. So I'm really excited now. Hey,
if you're telling me I have to go sit somewhere else and be loud and obnoxious, I'll take one for the team.
All right, good. Get up.
Eddie, I think it's really the first time this evening, apart from during Drew's technical malfunction, that we've had a moment on screen together. So looking forward, obviously, to 2022 there to build off your interview with Nick. For you, what are some of the moves you expect to see in the off season, and who are some of the players you definitely want to see back? I mean, we've got that confirmation of Drew now as well, so I think he's off the cards in this conversation. But who do you think will be staying, and who would you love to see back next year, mate?
So I think staying. I think Obadal's staying. I think Brandon John's going to stay. Manella, Neufil, Brian Wright, I guess maybe. I'd like to see McKendry and up front Lawson. I remember I wrote an article on him and I was really hyped about him, and he had an unfortunate season with plagued with injuries, and I think he has a lot more to bring to the squad. So that's like current players. I really want to focus on the CPL U Sports draft. I feel like it was a first season. We didn't really know what the draft was, and we kind of missed out on some good players there. And right now with nationals happening in our own backyard at Carleton, Brandon and I are there scouting the players. If you guys want Ottawa, if you want some notes, hit us up. But there's a lot of good talent there that can help this team. And I really feel with 2 picks, we had the first overall pick. We should use it to our advantage. And I feel there's some players that we could really help boost the team. So it's going to be an interesting offseason. I'm really excited to see who comes back and who we bring to the squad. Even with the coach, who'll be the new coach. So there's a lot of entertaining things happening this offseason. I can't wait for it to get started. Hashtag
Absolutely.
season.
Absolutely. You make some really interesting points there as well. I think players like Brandon John and Lawson, if they come back next year because of the kind of season they had, that injury hit element of it, they're going to feel like brand new signings. As you say, we never got to see the most of Sean-Claude Lawson and Brandon John, who was the pillar. He was the rock at the back during the Island games. Obviously came into the season with a bit of an injury and then picked up a worse one in the kickoff as well. So yeah, really good choices there, mate. Love to hear that you boys are down and watching the Nationals at the moment. I do believe that Capital City Supporters Group will have a show hosted by Brandon and Eddie later in the off season to build up to the draft as well, looking at all the best players that have been kicking around at the moment and who Atletico Ottawa could be targeting for the draft pick. I think that's another really interesting point you have there, Eddie, like actually being able to capitalize on that. Speaking of capitalizing on some certain areas, what do you think the areas you would like us to see address in the team for the next season?
I mean, discipline is a pretty big one, but it's interesting because yes, we had obviously a pretty bad season, but there are a lot of positives near the end where we were in games and there were a lot of just unlucky stuff that happened. Either we're giving up penalties or just unlucky bounces. Like I think Johnny said, we were never blown out. I don't think there weren't a lot of games. We were always in it, but I think just shoring up the defense and just getting more. I think if we get 1 or 2 more creative players to create that, that one spark that we need, someone like Charlie Ward. I don't know, right? But that's I think what we should really target on, just shoring up the defense, getting the more depth there. I think that's where we lacked last season, was just depth, especially with injuries came quickly. We just quickly realized we need more defenders. So defenders, and then just focus on the midfield. Get someone like Acuna, where we can just create that spark off nothing really.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, some great insight there. And as Eddie and I have said throughout this show, make sure you come and sign up to be a Capital City member, free at the moment on the website, and make sure you hit up all of our social media channels as well, as that's where you're going to be able to get access to the kind of content and insight that Eddie and I have been bringing you all evening, along with obviously the really talented and knowledgeable big fan base of supporters that exist here in the capital city. Football is a little untapped at the moment, and this is the place where you're going to come and get it. If you're a guy who loves the sport, if you're a girl who loves the sport, if you're a dog who loves the sport, and you want to come and share some information, come and join us, come and meet up with us, drop us a message. We will take you arms wide open. Eddie, I feel like before we end this program completely, it would be crazy to not point this out. Jeff Hunt, president of Atletico Ottawa, received the Order of Ottawa this week. It was a couple of days ago now, for being an amazing community builder, of course, and we're all aware of the contributions he's given to the sporting aspects of this city. So massive congratulations to Jeff there, and thank you, obviously, for everything you've done. And the last thing for me is to simply say, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. As I said, go hit up all those other channels. Eddie, as always, thank you very much for your contributions. Thank you very much for your shirts. Thank you very much for your bold statements. Tell the people out there where they can go and find more of your bold statements online.
Just, look at my name, at Ed Benhin. Always controversial on Twitter, but we keep it PC, don't worry. But look, off-season doesn't mean it's quiet. We'll be digging up for stories, digging up for content. Always stay tuned on both our social. This guy got the more analytics. You need to get some more people on your podcast. Clearly, you might be kicked out soon based on their takes.
If I can host and let them talk, it makes my job a lot easier. So on that note, I just want to say thank you to absolutely everyone who participated this evening. But it doesn't just end there. There's 1,000,001 people behind the scenes that allow all of these things to happen. Huge shout out to Dan Duff, the president and founder of Capital City Supporters Group, who is operating all of the flying parts coming across your screen this evening. A dedicated fellow who always will persevere in terms of giving the best footballing content we can give. And of course, 1,000,001 thanks to every single person that turned up, even just once, to a viewing party, not even the stadium, and just kept Atletico Ottawa in the rhetoric, in the conversation in this city, because that's what it needs to grow. That's what we all love, and that's what we all want. But for now, it's a bye from me, it's a bye from Eddie, it's a bye from everyone from the Capital City team. And as I said, we'll see you in the off season, but we'll definitely be seeing you for the start of 2022.
One soccer. I answer Nick.
Oh yeah, vamos Atleti! Come on!
Rolling.
Second season's over, players gone with the playing done, and we dropped too many points, finished last behind Edmonton. Watching bubble games from Winnipeg just wasn't fun. Often we looked worse than that virtual stadium. Our house, in the middle of the gleam, our house. Atleti came to Ottawa and finally played at home. We finally got to cheer, they didn't have to play all alone. We had some good times, rocking in the dark. We know the players heard us, we know they felt the love. Our house, in the middle of the gleam, our house. Where we sing, we sweat, we bleed, our house. In the middle of the glebe, our house. One day we're gonna win this league. Long winter coming, there's so much we don't know. Have we seen the last of Mister? Can we get Acuna back from Mexico? We'll write some new songs, perfect a few new chants, and be counting down the months, the weeks, the days till we get our chance to sing them in our house. In the middle of the glebe, our house. Where we sing, we sweat, we bleed, our house. In the middle of the glebe, our house. One day we're gonna win this league, our house. One day we're gonna win this league, our house. One day we're gonna win this league, our house. One day we're gonna win this league. In the middle of the glebe.